How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Just getting myself reorganized post vacation, like it always is when you go out of town and you come back and there's like a million things kind of going on and yeah.
Did you guys have fun?
Oh, we had a great time. It was really
That's good.
yeah. Um we got there on Sunday, which was the day of the Bills game.
Ah,
So Tim's a big Phils fan, so we were on the airplane and we were flying Southwest. So, you know how they have the TVs. So he started watching it on the airplane. Then it was halftime and we went through customs. And then the friends we travel with, they're from Wisconsin. So we had to wait for them. Their flight was probably an hour after ours. So we sat kind of in like one of those little open air cantina kind of things as you exit the airport.
hmm
And Tim was able to get it on his phone. So
Wow.
on his phone, and then once we left the airport, it was kind of spotty, like the Wi-Fi. So he was kind of only getting like the updates and stuff. So yeah, but he was very excited. I was excited that like they won
hmm
on Sunday, so that like Tim was very happy all vacation. And then we came home on Saturday. So it was like the two worst game options.
Okay.
There were a bunch of different options. Like the game could have started at 4, which we already would have been at the resort.
Right.
The game could have been, it could have been on Saturday and we could have already have watched it before we left. And then same thing happened on the way home. The game was, I think, did it start at 4 on Saturday? I forget. So
Yeah.
like,
4:30, I think. Yeah.
yeah, so we flew Punta Cana back to Baltimore. And so that gets you there about 4:30. So he started watching it there, like on the airplane, like while we are taxiing. And then of course we had to go through customs, and that was about halftime. And then we watched the whole rest of the game, like literally standing in the line at the Baltimore airport. Everybody's going to Rochester, so everybody's out, watching the game. And then across the way diagonal was a Buffalo flight. So people were
Yeah.
it's like a commercial, like I
Oh my God.
so that's like I forget what it's for, but they're cheering for I think they're cheering for the Bills, and they're waiting in the airport and they're all on their phones. I don't know if it's a Verizon commercial or something like that, but yeah, that was us. Everybody was like on their phones, and there was a sports bar where there was like a little bit of a delay, so the people in the t sports bar were cheering, and then
Yeah.
it happened. So yeah, it was painful. It was very painful.
Oh, it was. I know. It's tough being a Bills fan. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad you had a good vacation and got some warm weather and some
Yeah.
beach time.
Yes, yes. The beach was
Yeah.
beautiful. We stayed at
Mhm.
Playa Esmeralda, which is kind of outside of Punta Cana, about an hour and a half, and it's kind of an underdeveloped area. It's a newer resort. So on either side of the resort was just like beach, just like
Mm.
forest. And there were actually like beach dogs. They were so cute. They were like little puppies, and moms and dads kind of running around. I did run on the beach, which was nice. They did have an erg, but it wasn't a concept tube. So I still did
Mhm.
workouts, but I really couldn't set it for anything. Like it had
Mm-mm.
and that said set, and then you could set like 5, 10, 15, or 20 minutes. I'm like, that doesn't help me. I'm like, I need to set tunes. Um, so I worked out on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Monday, Wednesday, I went to their gym to use the erg, but Friday I just went running on the beach. I was like, enough being inside. I'm like, let me go out and run on the beach, which was super nice. It was a little smushy. We walked the other direction, the beach was very firm. But
Mm-hmm.
this direction, well, I ran the other direction and it was a little bit smushy to be running. Like I was running like a 13-minute mile because it was just like sinking into this.
Mm.
But it was way better than being inside and way better than being home.
Yeah, yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
How much snow did you come home to?
Um, they had gotten a big snow on Thursday, and I
hmm
think that dropped about a foot. But right now we're back to like the sidewalks are open. We're
hmm
down to like maybe like 2 or 3 inches of like just general snow cover. I can tell that there was a lot while we were gone because on the circle we get like that big mountain, and the
Yeah.
mountain kind of half size right now. So So we got a decent amount while I was gone. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, you don't notice how much like the gray sky really affects you, but like by even just that afternoon after like we got there, around 1, 2, 3, 4, we were there and we were kind of sitting in the sun and looking up at the blue sky and I was just like, wow, I like instantly like felt like lighter and better and less wintry. Like it's amazing how much like the grayness really gets to us. So
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
I noticed that when I was in Buffalo. It's definitely must be like the cloud cover from the lakes, the lake effect and all that. But that was the one thing when people asked me, I think it was just the 4 years that I was there for school, the snow wasn't any different than it is in Albany. I mean, I remember getting big snowstorms growing up here, and I think I don't know which it was. It was either junior or senior year. We did get quite a lot of snow. The biggest one was I think senior year, Thanksgiving. So it would have been you would have been in grad school, right? I think so, because you're a
Yeah.
year ahead.
Yeah.
But it was a big Thanksgiving storm because, and I remember that because I had to get home because we were going to Ireland for Thanksgiving, for a very short, very short time. And I had to get home to Albany because we were driving down to New York City to get a flight over to Ireland. And I had to get home, but it took like the thruway was closed to a certain point. I mean, it took like 10 hours to get home that year.
I remember that. I remember that that was the year after I graduated. Tim was living
Mhm.
in Buffalo and it was like the type bury your car kind of snow. And I
Mhm.
remember I think while it snowed, I think he was home. I think he was at his apartment and I think they canceled work. But one of his friends, one of our friends, I think was at UB. And so and he was trying to drive. I don't know if he was trying to drive to Tim's apartment or something like that. And he got stuck like halfway. So once like, once it was safe to kind of like walk. And so Tim like walked in the snow with a shovel and got out there and like shoveled his car out and then helped him like, get where he needed to go. Like, yeah, because I remember it was like right around a holiday and everybody was
Mhm.
trying to get somewhere and
Yep.
it was standstill kind of snow. Like you had to get out before it got really deep because otherwise
Yeah.
forget it. But that's
Yeah.
interesting that you guys don't have the grayness during the winter.
Not Not as much. I mean, it definitely
Oh,
didn't like when I think of the difference with winter out in Western New York versus Eastern New York, it's the wind and the grayness is the biggest difference.
I thought everybody
Um,
like in New York had the grayness, so the grayness is us. Darn
I
it.
mean, I don't know how they measure that, but it would be interesting to see if that's actual facts because it feels that way. Like it was definitely something I noticed. And then I mean the wind is probably obvious. It's flatter out there. There's not, we're kind of more in the mountains
There's
zones, southern Adirondack area here. We got the Berkshires and the Catskills, so there's a lot of mountains here, a lot of valleys. And then yeah, this the grayness, it's just the made winter like you said, like it just gets like I could see like the seasonal affect disorder rates are probably higher in the western part of the state.
Yeah, it's just awful. Like today the sun's actually out, but like
Hmm.
we'll have days like this where the sun will rise and be out until about 10 a.m. and then it'll just be gray. Like it'll be gray until the sun until it gets dark. Or the other option is just it's gray all day. Like no sun at all, just gray.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, that's so wild. Like I hadn't thought about that it's probably and I mean it probably has something to do with the cloud cover from the lake. And they
Mhm.
call Rochester the natural, I think what was it, the natural um dark room. Like that's why
Oh,
they always joke that that's why Kodak started here because the natural dark room that it's always kind of gray and overcast. But
uh-huh.
oh my gosh, while I was down there, I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, I need to really get into this Nassau Bahamas thing where they have rowing and like start doing like a winter exchange with them and like I'm going down there and getting some sunshine because it's just brutal. Like Rochester is beautiful from like
Mhm.
I'd say Memorial Day to Labor
Mhm.
Day. Like that's
Mhm.
like prime time, Rochester, and like, and everybody's always like, well, what about the fall and the leaves turning? No, no, thank you. Um,
No.
I love summer here because our
Mhm.
summer is nice in the sense that like it's not far enough south that we get like big bugs. The mosquitoes. I
Mhm.
mean, if you have a couple plants out that deter from mosquitoes, you can probably keep the mosquitoes off of your area in the evening. Um, you don't have to have a screen over your pool or anything like that to keep like the alligators out or wild boars or whatever. Like you just don't have that kind of concern here. And like
Mhm.
the temperature gets warm, but it doesn't get like oppressive to the point where you're like, I've got to go inside and sit in the air conditioning. Like that's not like if you go inside to sit in the air conditioning, you're just doing that because you don't want to be
Mhm.
outside anymore. Whereas like in the South, like they kind of become like us during the summer. Like they're always
Yeah.
inside because it's too hot. Like I went to visit my sister in Tampa in July and like she kept like everybody was like inside and I was like, this is glorious. Like it was like hot and steamy and like like I was only there for a week, so it didn't make a difference. I went running. Like my sister was like, you're not gonna be able to go running every morning. It just, you don't wake up super early. And I was like, no, I was like 9 a.m. out there in the like heat and sweating and just loving it. But like I imagine that that could potentially get a little old. Like if you were doing that for 6 or 7 months out of the year, like that might just not be comfortable
Mhm.
for some people. So I don't know. I need to devise a plan. I know where I want to be from Memorial Day to Labor Day. I need to figure
Mhm.
the other part of the year. I don't know if I'll be like a snowbird and like stay in one spot, but I might need to go to the Caribbean at some point because my sister in Tampa right now, like their weather, you know how like Florida gets, it's kind of variable this time of year. Like if you go
Yeah.
during the February break, if you take the kids to Disney, you might be in shorts and t-shirts, or you might
Yeah.
raincoats, or you might need your winter coat. It might be to like
Yeah.
40. So I don't want to be somewhere where it's that variable. So I might have to figure out there might be a
I,
Caribbean rowing coaching job that I gig that I need to get for like 3 months out of the winter, and then I'll slowly work my way back up to Rochester so I get back here for Memorial Day.
yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. I think that's why Chris ultimately wants to like just like move on to a sailboat and just kind of follow the weather,
Oh, wow. Oh, that's a
which
cool
I'm
idea.
still not sold. I've kind of been more sold, but like we've we've done a few sailing excursions. We have a sailboat. It's I
Mhm.
don't know. It hasn't really like hooked its claws into me. It's we'll see. We will see.
Random with
I
sale. Oh my gosh, that's
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of it and I like the idea like the concept that people have like where I can wrap my head around it is the concept of like how people like travel in an RV and that's like their thing, right? Like they don't really have a home base or maybe they do, but they just spend the year out in their RV traveling around. Like I don't know if that's quite what I would want to do. It sounds like I could be maybe convinced to do that. Um but like that idea on a sailboat is much more appealing to me, just the traveling aspect.
right.
But it's the whole sailing aspect. I think it's just that like the things that could go wrong part and then like having to know how to fix them and that like it's not just enough to like have put all of that on Chris because it would just be like the two of us. So like
Yeah.
I would definitely have to learn how to do some of that, which is not really appealing to me, but someday maybe I'll surprise myself. But anyway, yeah, that was his thoughts. But sailboats are expensive and just having a sailboat is expensive, like having where to put it, where to store it, where to maintain it, um just the roughness of the water and the damage it does over time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would want a home. Like I don't think I could just like up and move and say like we're nomads, like
Yeah.
we're living on the sailboat.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of different options now because there are Airbnbs. Like, in my in-laws, they are relatively snowbirds, but they don't have a place down in Florida. But their
Hmm.
initial Airbnb that they got the first time that they went for like an extended period, like they did like I think they did 2 months, and
Hmm.
they leave. They're leaving in February. Usually, like usually in January they take like a trip. Like they I think they went to St. Croix maybe the week before us going to Punta Cana, they went to St. Croix. So usually they do like St. Croix or they go to Hawaii or they do something beachy at the beginning of January and then they leave for Florida and they meet all their friends down there. They stay in Florida until about like Easter, but I think they might stay past Easter this year because Easter's super early. Like then they'd only be there like 2 months. But usually they stay about 3 months. They do a long extended Airbnb. And then first Airbnb that they did, the owner was like really like, oh, I have a bunch of different properties. Are you interested in just kind of doing this directly? So now they rent directly from the
Hmm.
property owner, and the property owner has like 5 or 6 different houses. So depending on, what they want at the time. They pick a house and that's been working out really well for them. And so that's kind of a way to do it and not necessarily have to have the responsibility of the actual place, which is kind of neat.
Yeah. Hmm.
Because they still have their house here in Rochester. I mean, that's their home base. They come back and they're here the rest of the year, besides all the, when they travel and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
I could do something like that. Like, I don't know if I'd want to get like a smaller place in Rochester, like on the lake
Mm.
or on the pond, because there's a
Hmm.
pond up here that would be really rowable, like at like a little cottage.
Hmm.
Um, because from my physical therapy background, I'd be like, okay, it has to be even egress into the house, has to be first floor shower, accessible bathroom, and then like easy down to like the actual water. But I mean, then that puts the actual house at risk for
The
like
floods.
because of floods, because of
Yeah.
you guys down your way is where the water for Lake Ontario is controlled. And I don't know how many years ago it was, but it was a good couple years ago. Maybe it was before COVID, so maybe it was like 6 or 7 years ago, 6, 7. Um, my kids and this whole 6, 7 thing. Emma said the other day, she's like, that could be more like 6, 8. Like she was like, that was very bad. Something very bad would be more like 6, 8. Um, so, and I don't know if she just made that up or if that's something new now.
Well, now it's out there.
It's out there. Like the water was so bad, like everybody on the pond had to sandbag and like
Mm.
the water was coming like there were certain streets that you just couldn't even unless you were a local person, you couldn't drive on them.
Hmm.
And they had sandbags like all the way back because we kind of have like some marshland too that's on the other side of the lake. So, but luckily, I mean, knock on wood, we haven't had problems with the lake levels in a long time. And I don't know if like because of that incident, like if things are better as far as like the water control. But I'd like to be on the lake because I want to be able to go rowing, and I want to be able to put my boat in the water in the morning and just go out for a nice little paddle and then come back and just kind of be able to sit by the water because I love being by the water. So like if I
Yeah.
can get like a little place to do that. And then I mean, I don't know if the kids would stay here in Rochester or not. And there's so many variables, like to kind of
Mhm.
figure out because you don't want to be far from family and just kind of thinking about like my mom's situation, like, you could get sick and you could need help. And it's hard when your kids have to move you to where they are in order to be taken care of. So, um, but then you're living in Rochester and you got snow and gray, like 7 months out of the year. And I'm not living that kind of life. Once Mikey graduates from high school, we're gonna be making some big decisions. Like Mikey's a seventh grader right now, so we're coming down to the line. Like when I think about it, um, that's only like 6 years, right? 5
Yeah.
years. 5 years now because we're on the other side.
Nice. Almost. Yeah.
Yeah, so 5 years will go like that. I
It
mean,
will. I
here,
know.
5 years ago was a year after COVID, right? So I mean, it's
Yeah.
like the time will go
Hmm.
really quickly. So I'm trying just to kind of prep my mind for, what we
Hmm.
may do. And I mean, we have our house and my parents' house still too, so it's kind of like figuring all those things out. So I don't know, but I do want to go somewhere like like even like thinking about like retirement as physical therapist. I know I can only be a physical therapist for so long. It's a physical job. So, and then even coaching. Coaching is a really physical job. Like I know a lot of coaches that you get to the point where it's hard getting in and out of the launch, depending on what type of boat you have to drive around. Especially like, um, I've talked to some coaches like they have shoulder issues, so driving the outboard is really hard. Um,
Yeah.
or just like you might have like, life happens. You might have a hip replacement or a knee replacement, and the stepping off the dock down so low into the boat and uneven surface is just super challenging. Like it's just
Yeah.
tough to do still. And then, I mean, sitting in the cold
Mhm.
in a cold launch like for hours and hours, like that can be hard for people. And I know that like at our boathouse we've made accommodations for people. Like for some coaches some coaches have a driver, so it makes it a little bit easier, but they still need someone to help them in and out of the launch, so they're not flopping around trying to do that. But it becomes a limitation, depending on how nimble you happen to be. And it's not like, oh, these are not like people you would look at who are walking around and you'd be like, oh, they've got an issue. It's just that like when you get older, your balance just
Mhm.
isn't like 100% to be getting in and out of a launch. I mean, probably slightly
Yeah.
easier with do you guys have wakeless at your place?
No, no. So Shan has the outboard, that you're driving behind you. And then Burn Hills has the ones with steering wheels. But
Okay.
they're just like a step up from that. So, um, yeah. So but those are nice. I prefer driving those for sure. Those are a lot better to drive. But yeah, I think Shan are all the outboard behind you.
Yeah. There's only one wakeless at Genesee Waterways, and it belongs to
Mhm.
U of R. So U of R has one wakeless.
Yeah.
Mm. It's something to think about, as far as
Mhm.
like, coaching in the future. And then I'm like, well, I could do stuff on land or I'm hoping like, I keep my fingers crossed. I'm trying to take really great care of my body. You only get one. So it's like, doing all the things and keeping your balance, working on strength, and hoping that that will be an option as a retirement job for me to be just a coach, a master's coach, or I don't know if I'd want to coach a high school team. That's a little much. It's a little much.
Yeah, I know. What about like I don't know, this whole idea of like guest coach, like it's definitely something that I've been putting more thought. I mean, I've been really thinking a lot about coaching and like
Okay.
what not me, sorry, not me. I'm thinking about like
Okay.
how to make it work for a team because I'm kind of overseeing a youth team. So like what conditions are ideal and like how can you like feasibly attract people to the field that isn't like eating up their whole life, because I think that's the real challenge. We were talking about it yesterday at our master's practice, just like, like the one coach from Burnt Hills, he's actually I think he's certified now, but he's like a personal fitness trainer. So like that was been what he's been working on towards. And but then, to make ends meet, he was working at Target. So he would like start at Target at like 6 a.m. and his shift at 2:45, run over to the boathouse, coach youth practice until 6 and then masters until 8. And like this was his life. And then the weekends that had regattas, like,
Yeah.
yeah. So like those weeks he had no free time. So,
Yep.
like how do we like create systems and situations where people can do this and it can actually be a feasible? Because I know the other part is like we've been trying to like target and on LinkedIn, I've been reaching out to some seniors that are on college teams that are within like New York State and other areas, and just try to see like if anybody has any kind of interest at all in coaching and like what would be the parameters because like those kids are getting 4-year degrees, so they want like
Yeah.
full-time jobs, right? But like maybe there's a situation that we can, I don't know, like provide some kind of I don't think Shen could do this, but maybe Burnt Hills could provide a place for um like a work from home office, like that's like part of the package deal, like if you have a job where you can work from home, we've got a space for you. We've got Wi-Fi set up. We've got a coffee maker.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just trying to be creative because it is a problem that is not going away. It's going to keep getting worse until we come up with some ideas. So that's just where my like rowing head has been lately, is just trying to figure out like how to create these situations that will help attract young people to the field. And it's even like more than just like getting a person who knows what they're doing in the boat, like getting somebody who actually is invested in working with young people and
Mhm.
the mental aspect of it and like like character building and that sort of thing. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I totally agree with that. And I think about like CRI when I was visiting them, like a lot of the coaches, like they would stack the coaching, like because they had juniors, they had masters, they had high performance, they had para there. So what they could do was like you would be coaching in the morning and then maybe midday you would be manning like the desk, or you would be a repair person, or you would be a systems person just for whatever teams, like taking care of emails, organizing. And then in the evening, you then would be coaching maybe a juniors team, and then your day would be over. Or you would coach it, or you would somebody who come in the midday or the evening, and you would coach a juniors team, and then you coach a masters team after. And they stacked their coaching a lot, which I think allowed the actual money aspect of it to be just a little bit easier for people. But it's hard, it's because a lot of, and I think about these niche sports, they're expensive anyway. And then, you're spending all this money, but the coaches are like getting basically no money. Like all the money's going to operations, the money's going to insurance, the money's going to boathouse repairs or boat repairs or boat maintenance. There's just so many things that those dues have to cover. And I think about, like grant writing and those types of things. Like there's people out there who want to create, who have foundations and those types of things, who want to support youth sports. It's just a matter of like finding the right fit and getting someone who can be a donor, and then you can actually start paying your coaches a living wage. We're having that issue right now on Emma's synchronized swimming team. Her team, because pool time is expensive, the insurance
mhm.
is expensive, and then it leaves the coaches with pennies. And I worry about that because that creates a lot of stress on a coach.
Yeah,
Because financially, this isn't something that is it could be potentially something they really, really love, but it's not something that financially is helping them. It's actually hurting them because it's taking time away from them where they could A, be relaxing and just kind of powering down from their actual like real job, or B, like it's a drain on them because not only are they sacrificing the salary, they might be going out and buying something. Like I remember as a coach, like if we needed some type of like, I don't know, some fitness equipment that I wanted, I would just buy it. I would, and I would just kind of give it to the team. Like I know plenty of coaches who have just
mhm,
bought, whether it's like, oh, I paid for that Cox box, or or I got that, or I got a megaphone, but it's a team megaphone. I bought a nice megaphone for everybody to use, and it turns into like, you know the coach becomes almost like a volunteer slash like donor
mhm.
to the team,
Yeah,
donating their time. And there's a lot of coaches out there that love to do that. Like, um, they might be retirees, and I'm hoping that like I'll be in that position when I retire, that I'll just be able to, just to write a check and be like, okay, you guys want a new set of oars? Okay, I'll just, and there's plenty of like teams who have that person, and that's kind of how they stay afloat. Then they can give most of the coaching money to the person on the team who actually needs it. And they might like, "Oh, I don't want the salary, send that to the other coaches." And they're the gift donor kind of person. It's tough. It's hard to kind of figure out because it is a skilled trade. It's a skilled
yeah,
activity. It's not you I mean, you can teach somebody how to do it, but um, it's there's time that goes into kind of learning
mhm,
all the ins and outs of being a coach, and keeping these teams afloat is tough. I mean, literally,
yeah. Oh, it is. Yeah, and there's a lot of feelings attached to it too. That's another challenge, right? Like, and then even with grants, like grants don't last forever, so like it can help, but then it ends. And so then it becomes like, okay, well then what do we do next year? Like what if we don't get the grant next year? So then we can't do this anymore. If it's a vital thing like paying a coach or paying insurance or doing something that you have no choice but to do, it because you get stuck in a really tough spot. And feelings get involved when people feel like they pour their heart and soul into a team and money
Yeah.
from their own goodwill, right? Because they wanted to do something for the team, and it just becomes kind of it in through no fault, through like because it's always been the way it was, because nobody paid attention, whatever the reason is, it doesn't get acknowledged, it doesn't get appreciated, and then it turns into sour grapes. So, you've got some entitled feelings sometimes, you've got bad feelings, you've got people who like we've always talked about, you've got some an extra boat that you can lend, and then that becomes, the expectation that anytime you need a boat, that person will have a boat for you. And then it's like, okay, well, you know, at what point are we going to like have to charge for this and make it all on the up and up? And yeah, it's hard because I think a lot of things could work better if people teamed up and worked together and shared expenses. Um, but then it just that's really challenging to do. And when people have kind of their ways of doing things, that can be really hard to blend things together. So I know we've kind of explored that before, but yeah, I would actually really like it if there was some kind of like US rowing, almost like not a franchise, but like templates, like templates on like this is what you do, and these are ideas, right? Like you can choose like, okay, if you're going to have a boathouse, like this is how you could organize it. Are there multiple teams rowing out of the boathouse? Here's a structure you can kind of like cut and paste and like adapt to what would work for you.
And I haven't gone on the launch recently, so I don't know if there is like a section on there for like boathouse development. I know that that
Mm,
is one of the modules in level 3. And
mhm.
because like at the time when I was taking level 3, I was more like I was just enamored with like biomechanics and physiology and all and rigging. Like those were like the three where I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Everything else I was like, well. But I know that we had like a whole module on that. And I know like often when they do like the master's presentations and those types of things, there's always somebody who talks about like boathouse dynamics, boathouse like um organization, and I think there's a lot of resources for that, but I don't know how well tapped into that everyone is.
Mhm.
And I think that's a challenge because everybody's kind of in their own little silo, and
Yep.
sometimes doesn't that the information from US Rowing doesn't necessarily trickle down to everyone, and the resources that are available don't readily trickle down to clubs to let them know that that thing is going on. I don't know if you saw US Rowing put up a post for the return to row.
I did. I shared it with you.
Oh yeah. So that's how like because I was on my during the week I was on my phone
Hmm.
for like 2 seconds and I was like, oh look at this. And so yeah, I being outside of the country and trying to use like Instagram, my Instagram was
Oh yeah.
yeah, like I don't, like it was loading really slow, and then like I was only getting a couple of things, but I did see that. So
Hmm.
that's so cool. And
Yeah.
I wrote on there like, let's get all the alumni together, and it's supposed to be May, right?
I think so. Yeah. Yep.
So it's like supposed to be a Saturday in May, and your boathouse can choose any Saturday, right? And
I
then
think so. Yeah, it was pretty open.
yeah, and then I was thinking because the last weekend in May is Pittsford Regatta. So that would be the
Yes.
perfect opportunity to put together a bunch of alumni boats and do like a return to row. Like I always think of like that being like an easy way to do it because the boats are already there.
Hmm.
There's plenty of equipment to borrow,
Hmm.
if and we should and maybe we talk to Pittsford Regatta and see if maybe they can schedule the like regatta, like the that particular race maybe in a strategic spot so
Hmm.
that it's easy for teams to lend their boats out to alumni.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
maybe I don't know, maybe it needs to be the last race of the day.
Could be. Yeah. Last race.
Last
Yeah.
race would
Yeah.
be good because everybody else, I mean, but I don't know if teams will want to wait. Like, there's the thing
Yeah.
getting the boats on the trailer. I don't know, maybe if it was the last race of the morning, maybe, because most of the boats may be back. Or, I mean, that race is only 1,200 meters. So
Hmm.
maybe if they took a little special break and maybe if it was an exhibition during the lunch hour or something like that. Just maybe it's just a parade of boats. You know what I mean?
I like that idea because I think a lot of people are not ready to get into a boat race, but
Right.
I don't want
Yeah, like
to
maybe
discourage
parade
people.
of
Yeah.
boats at lunchtime and people just row up to the start, turn around and come back.
That would be cool. And then like if they were able to announce like the people that are in the boat and where they rode for,
Mm.
that would be kind
Yeah,
of neat.
yeah. Oh my gosh, that'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I will. I have some contacts out in the Pittsford club, so I can talk to them and see if that's something that they'd be interested in. And like that would be like the Rochester participation and because there's gonna be a lot of people there. I mean, you guys
Yeah.
in that race, right?
So
Uh,
yeah, so if it's the same weekend, which I think it is again as the SRAs, if we have anybody who qualifies for SRAs, but that's in Oak Ridge this year, so
mm.
I don't know if that's gonna impact. Yeah.
That's Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. For reals?
For reals, I know. I'm not too
Hard
crazy about
enough.
that.
Yeah, when it was in Jersey, it was hard enough. Oh my gosh. Oak Ridge?
Yep.
Look at
So I mean I don't want to say that I hope nobody qualifies, but it's a hike. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Oh,
sure because I think Youth Nationals is still down in Florida.
yeah.
So yeah,
Nationals are
Scholastic.
true.
But so it's always been like I know last year we were kind of on the fence because we weren't sure, and then like technically Hannah didn't qualify at states, but then they petitioned, so they went to SRAs.
Mhm.
Um, Scholastic Rowing Nationals 26. Yep, Oak Ridge 22 through 23. So I'm guessing that's also like
Yeah.
when
If I
Pittsford's.
look at my
Yeah.
calendar, um, oh,
So
you said 22 through 23?
yeah,
That's the weekend before Memorial Day. Wait, no,
that's Pittsford's
that's Memorial
Regatta.
Day weekend, right? Because the Memorial Day is going to be the 25th.
Pittsford Regatta 26. Do they have that one up yet?
It may not be on Regatta Central yet.
May 23rd to 24. Yeah, so it's the same weekend, which it usually is. So yeah, so we'll see. I mean, that would be awesome because I think that would be really cool. I mean, there's definitely some chance that there's, other people like me who have kids that are rowing, and it would
Yeah.
be kind of neat to have, the parents of rowers or just the community members rowing and
Yeah.
graduates from those different programs.
Yeah, I think it would just be a really cool opportunity just to get people out. Like I love the idea of just like a parade of boats and like,
Yeah.
people having the opportunity just to get in there and just kind of, get a chance to put their hands on the oar again and like just kind of be back in it. So I think
Hmm.
it's gonna be really cool. And I've been thinking about I wanted to float this idea like I might yeah, let me float this idea and see what you think. What about a clinic, like a
Hmm.
week-long thing during the summer
Hmm.
where we take kids who play other sports and
Hmm.
teach them how to row and prep them for the idea of potentially not doing their sport in college, but trying to get recruited for rowing. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, I guess the whole thing is like, how do you how do
Like,
you
how would you
recruit
pack that?
them? It's the
Yeah.
I
Like,
I think it's a great idea because it happens, right? We know it
you
happens.
know what
Like,
happens? Like, if the
yeah.
volleyball player or the basketball player, someone, it'd really be for the athlete who's kind of decent at
Hmm.
their current sport
Right.
would love to be a college athlete,
Hmm.
knows potentially that they're not at the level in their current sport. So like
Right.
someone who's like, you can make the high school volleyball team, but you're not making like a D3 volleyball team or a D1 volleyball team. You're just not. But you love
Hmm.
sport. You love being
Hmm.
athletic. So this would kind of be for that person, or the soccer player, or or the gymnast, or the people who've been actively doing something else, are athletic, want to pick up another skill potentially to make themselves more attractive to a school.
Hmm.
And like, so it would be like, I was thinking like it would be like a summer camp. It'd have to be a week long. Uh,
Hmm.
it would have to be like 2 a days, because I mean, we're
Yeah.
assuming these kids are already athletic, so they can
Right.
already handle, cardio fitness. There'd be a component of learning like how to erg and potentially producing some type of erg score,
Yep.
whatever that may be by the end of the week. Um, and then also like learning, I would prefer to teach them all how to skull and have them
Hmm.
have sculling proficiency,
Yeah.
rather than teaching sweep. Sweep we might introduce at the very end of the week, like maybe
Yeah.
like,
You could do that with tanks and then maybe
yeah,
getting out
yeah,
for
like
like
a
one or
Thursday,
two.
Friday kind of thing. You're
Yeah.
learning how to sweep.
Hmm.
Um, maybe at the end of the week, like it's also the erg test, so
Hmm.
teaching how to learning how to use the rowing machine, learning how to use the rowing machine just for fitness in general. I mean, like, so they can
Yeah.
get an idea of that, getting out on the water, learning, water safety, and like, particularly at Genesee Waterways, there's a pool. So, just, I mean, within walking distance, you can literally carry the singles from the boathouse to the pool and put it in the pool and do a flip test. So we'd have them be flip test
Hmm.
certified. Um, they would learn all the boating do's and don'ts, how to dock a boat, how to, like they would learn proficiency in the single or in a
Hmm.
double, or what, or supported, but supported boat of some sort, just so that nobody's getting scared. But and then maybe as a part of the package, like we would, they would do the erg score, so they have the erg score. We would do some video. So they have video of them rowing on the erg and on the water.
Yeah.
And then maybe there'd be like a in-class kind of seminar led by Kate, helping them to then use all of this new information to fill out their portal, or fill out their,
Mm.
what's the NCI, NS,
And CSA.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
NCSA, yeah.
The free account, everyone. I'm not like getting any kickbacks from CSA and but I've never used the paid one.
Yep. And so like just kind of get the ball rolling. Maybe like
Mm.
in that seminar portion, they would learn how to contact a coach,
Hmm.
learn how, just, how to interact, how often to reach out, um, what to say on a phone call,
Mm.
give them practice scripts or something like that. And like, so there would be like a whole like little package of all the information they would need to potentially start a rowing career. Because like there's some schools that just don't have rowing.
Great. Yeah.
And so it would kind of be for those kids. Like, and
Hmm.
it's not
Yeah,
for nothing, they'd end up with a skill by the end of the week. Like, and rowing's a
exactly.
lifelong skill, so then they'd be able to go to a boathouse, take out a single, and feel confident and be able to row it. So, like, I don't know. I was thinking about doing something like that this summer, maybe. Like, maybe we can noodle on that. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I really like it. I like it because I think, like you said, I mean, the challenge will be my gut just from experience in this with other people's reaction to that, like don't poach my people kind of attitude. So I
Yeah.
think the one way around that is that you just have to be careful with where you're advertising it. Like you're probably not going to get anyone by reaching out to the volleyball coach, right? Like
Yeah.
if you are friends with the volleyball coach and they understand that you're really just trying to provide an opportunity for the kids that like that, so that person's probably biggest thoughts are like on their top players, right?
Hmm.
That they're like trying to train them to be to a certain level and think that they have a future in it. but then this is for the other kids that work really hard, that just don't have what it takes for whatever reason to be like at the next level for that sport, but maybe they would be for another sport. And we know for a fact that that's where a lot of these college rowers come from, is that they have a it can be in any number of sports, swimming, volleyball, even soccer,
Yep.
like the fitness level and the type of like athletic mentality is what really makes it like, if you can do that, you can do, and you learn rowing, like you can
Yeah.
be a college rower. So,
Yeah.
and there's just all different kinds of programs out there. So like,
Hmm.
maybe you're not, and I won't even say that because I'm sure that even like, who won the NCAAs? Texas, probably. They've they've won most of the years. Like, I'm sure probably even some of those people, I know there a lot of them are from like other countries, but I'm sure that there's girls on that team, guys on their team that are, that they picked up rowing for the first time in college, and they just, but you can't do that and not be an athlete first. Like that's like the first
Yeah.
ingredient,
That's
right?
the first
The
ingredient.
rest can be taught.
And I mean, even
Yeah.
I mean, it could even be for someone who's not necessarily athletic, but not didn't find a sport in high school, but
Well,
still
that,
has but
yes.
still has that desire to, to do something, and it might be, it's always a good outlet. And for those, then this would probably be targeting maybe sophomores and juniors potentially, you know?
Mhm, mhm,
Like, summer between
yeah,
sophomore and senior, that I mean, that would give you
mhm,
sort of enough time to maybe contact maybe a D3 coach or something like that. Um,
yeah,
but, like, or the summer between sophomore and junior. So those would be, like, kind of like the key kids. Like, so I guess it's rising juniors and
uh,
rising seniors, right? That's how they say it?
I don't yeah, I don't think you'd wanna discount, yeah, did you say rising sophomores?
Rising no, I said rising
Like,
juniors, rising seniors, or should it be more rising sophomores, rising juniors?
yeah, I think it doesn't hurt to go younger because this whole process, like, starts earlier than most people
Oh, yeah.
think, like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, to do it right, and then, like, so some of them are starting a little later, but ideally, I think you would want to have, if you can, even if you're playing your sport and you're just doing it for this summer, you're just getting, like we said, like that the baseline of how to be in a boat and
Yep.
how to row, like maybe like there's tweaks, but like
Mhm.
that's the case for people who've been doing it for years. So like, yeah, I think you could do it earlier.
Rising
Maybe.
sophomore, because rising
Yeah.
sophomores and rising juniors would both be able to email and, well, they would be
Mhm.
able to talk to coaches, and it would be okay to do because, like,
Yeah, you can't talk to coaches yet
oh,
until
you have
the
to go
end of your sophomore year.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Okay, but that would prime them,
Yeah, no, I think,
a rising
yeah,
sophomore, then they'd know, you know
then
what I
they'd
mean?
know.
And
Mhm.
even, I think it would even be helpful for people who aren't necessarily interested, I mean, who wanna learn how to row, see if it's something that
Mhm.
fits for them, but it would give them the information for their own sport
Mhm.
also. Like,
Yeah.
the information about contacting coaches is universal,
Yeah.
how to talk to the coach will be universal information. So I think
Mhm.
it would be a cool thing to put together, and it'd be fun,
Yeah.
teaching a bunch of
Actually, those kids would be surprised because they'd be hearing a lot more from the college rowing coaches than probably the the soccer, volleyball, and swimming coaches. So they
yeah,
might be like, "Oh, okay.
yep.
Wow, maybe I should find a local team to start rowing with."
Not that we wanna poach people but
No.
just kind of creating, like, this opportunity to, like, have this little camp. Maybe we host it here in Rochester, then we host one maybe
Mhm.
out by you too, like, I don't know.
Sure, yeah.
Should
I like it. Let's keep mulling that over. I like the idea.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good. Yeah, I like that idea. And then, we can grow it into having like its own little coxswain one too, because that could be
Yeah.
its own thing. We just gotta find a rowing friend that has a coxing background.
Goodness, where's a coxswain background that we know? Hmm. Think about it. We'll think about it and see if there's
Yeah.
someone that, would be interested in hosting the coxswain version of that. I think, like, The one thing I was, oh, you know what? I do know someone who's a coxswain
Okay.
here in Rochester, and he's incredible. He's a rower, but he's also a cox. He coxed quite a bit in in college. So and he does like coxswain clinics. So he might be a
Yeah.
yeah, he might be like just the person for this. So
Cool.
um, the thing about coxing is like I wish like put more time into it. I wish more masters were open to the idea of getting in the coxswain seat. Like I talk to my
Hmm.
clients all the time. I'm like, and especially like the juniors rowers that I work with, I'm like, this could be a job for you. Like you
Hmm.
put like I have a junior right now who's finishing up, or I have a senior who's finishing up her season, and she's going to be going to like a community college, and so she's not going to row. And I was like, well, you should stay involved with rowing, and I gave her the contacts for the masters teams. I'm like, people will be calling you left and right, like all summer long. You'll get paid. I mean, you don't get paid much, but you'll get paid. You get to be on the water. And it's really fun coaching masters and like teaching people. And like, she's like, well, I'm kind of like, I don't know if I know enough. I'm like, you know, plenty, you know, a lot. And being able to sit in the seat and be confident and, it's just so helpful. I think when masters rowers who are new to rowing get a really good coxswain, they're like, wow, like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like because they're used to kind of like people just kind of jumping in and not saying much and just kind of like worrying about the steering and not really giving like the technical piece or being able to do more complex drills or be able to understand like how to explain boat feel and what's missing from the rowing that they're doing. And I think it's really, really valuable. Another way for like people who are graduating who aren't going to row in college is a great way to stay involved. And it's,
Hmm.
low hanging fruit. You can say, I do Tuesdays and Thursdays, and, I only want to coach whoever, or only want to cox with
Yeah.
whoever, or I only want to be in the eight. Like I don't want to slide myself in the four, none of that. Like, like you can pick and choose, and then you can kind of decide,
Mhm.
kind of make your path forward and still be involved in rowing without necessarily having to like row, you know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But I wish there were more
Yeah.
opportunities to learn it, like to get in the
Yeah.
seat, and I think people feel intimidated, like just hopping in at a practice and like
Hmm.
it's like I'm like that's how every coxswain starts. They have to
Yep.
in the seat and figure out how to see around everybody and how to aim the boat and how the boat moves and the reactivity of the rudder. Like you have to start building those skills. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
do you guys do like a coxswain's clinic during the
Not
summer?
really.
That
No,
uh,
no, we don't have I don't think any of the coaches in our boathouse, so Burn Hills and Chen, I don't think any of the, oh, I shouldn't say that because my one of the master's coaches was a coxswain, John. So maybe we could ask him to do it. But yeah, other than that, I don't think any of the coaches were former coxswains. I mean, some of them may have jumped in the seat or two once or twice, but they don't have a coxing background. That is such a huge thing. I would love to get somebody like that because I know my coach in high school was a former coxswain and I just took things for granted because he knew and he knew how to coach the coxswains and so that helped all of us.
yeah.
So, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, it would be really good.
yeah. So maybe we'll talk about maybe having like a master's learn to cox this summer or something like that. Kind of like a
Yeah.
try it out kind of thing. And I guess you'd have to have eight rowers who knew what they were doing, I guess, and you'd have to alternate through the boats and kind of figure that out. But yeah, that might be really great because coxswains, besides coaches, coxswains are really hard to find, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I love coxing, but I only fit in the eight. So
Well, that's a challenge. Yeah, there's very few adults. That's a hard one to market. I can't market
maybe I
by
could fit in
size.
Eastern Cox 4, but I'd be weighing it down
Yeah.
way too much. Like it would have to be like a heavyweight boat with like heavyweight rower, and then I could sit in the coxswain seat in a 4. Like I'm too big for it. But in an 8, like if I sit on a life vest, I'm pretty decently comfortable. Like eventually my hips might like get pressed so much that my legs go numb by the end of practice. And then
Yeah.
I'm like rolling out of the boat because my legs don't work. But
Yeah.
I mean, I love being in the coxswain seat. Like
Hmm. Yeah.
it's really nice, like as a coach too, because like a lot of times when you give coxswain a drill, the coxswain the drill, like, oh, go ahead and go through the pick drill. Like I'll stop people I'll be like, way enough, way enough, way enough, way enough, way enough. I'm like, this is not how this is supposed to go. Like, because otherwise, like I don't know, I love a really crisp pick drill. And like if people aren't doing it that way, I'm like, okay, like we're not catching the gist of like what this is supposed to be. This is like we're working on our timing, we're building the recovery. Like we need to think about all these different parts and
Yeah.
like especially when the timing's off and like you I'm like, oh, okay, we need to slow this down because there's always somebody, in like a master's boat who may not necessarily like this might be like maybe their first year or their second year and they like masters like the timing of learning everything gets so drawn out because they don't get, you're maybe practicing 1 day a week or you're practicing 2 days
Right.
a week. Whereas like, you've coached high school or college, like by week 2 of like 6 days in a row, like I've fixed that already. Like, that's gonna
Yeah.
take for a master's who's rowing once a week, that's gonna take 2 months to fix.
Yeah. Hmm.
And so it's
If
just
you
kind
can
of
fix it.
like every practice you're just kind of like, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." I'm like, "We're not even doing the pick drill right. What are we what are we gonna do when it actually gets to like real rowing?" Like, so I think that's a hard challenge
Hmm.
for a master's coxswain because they're not seeing that improvement so quickly, it's hard for them to improve so quickly too. So
Hmm.
like I'm always the boat that's like lagging behind because I've stopped people so much. I'm just like, if we're gonna practice this, you only have a finite amount of time to practice this. Like I want you to put in time that's of quality rather of quantity. I'm like, we may not go as far as the other boat, and the coach might be angry that we're not catching up. Like I'm like everybody else is rowing by fours. I got to row by sixes because I've slowed them down so much that we're not going as fast as as the four who are like, doing the drill and just kind of getting through it. But um, being in the coxswain seat's just so nice as a coach because you can see what people are doing too. Like I'm like, what are you doing with your hands? I'm like, three seat, what is going on with those hands? Because I can see, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
or like how they're positioning their body or how they're looking. Like I
Hmm.
love like when you're in the eight, you can see it like sometimes like people will like to look all the way up at the stroke person,
Hmm.
which is kind of a plus minus thing to do because it it messes up the translation between all the people in between you. If you're only like you want to follow your stroke, yes,
Hmm.
but you want there to be learning how to like communicate the body movement all the way to the back of the boat. Like so if 3 seat, and I keep picking on 3 seat. So if 3 seats, like we're rowing all eight or something like that, or we're rowing by sixes, right? 3 seat
Hmm.
would win if we're rowing by sixes. They're catching with the stroke person, but everybody else in the middle is doing something wonky crazy. Like I'm
Yeah.
kind of like that's not really 3C's fault that they're following what they're supposed to be doing. But like I need like 7 and 6 to like to be looking and like following so that like we can start to get the communication to go all the way down the boat kind of thing.
Right.
So like
Yeah.
when you're in the coxswain seat as a coach, it makes it really easy to kind of clean things up quickly because you can feel it in the boat too. I'm like, who's rushing? I'm like,
Yeah.
you
You can
kind
feel
of
that
kind of
better.
like
Yeah.
that aura on the recovery, like the one that's like going meow. Like,
Hmm.
no, 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 no. I'm like, take your time, be easy, be easy. Because a lot of
Hmm.
times, like, I feel like especially newer rowers, they want to move the seat all the time.
Hmm.
They feel like that. They wanna feel that, and I'm like, "No, no, no, like, there's, like, a moment, like, when you pivot, like, the
Hmm.
seat's barely moving, like, the seat's actually moving, like, kinda forward to back." Like,
Hmm.
and feeling that, and then slowly moving the wheels forward, like, trying to get people to, like, slow it down because people just, like they like all the motion. They feel like the motion's productivity is and a
Hmm.
lot of times it's, like, not being productive. Taking the boat back towards the stern.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't mind coxing more this summer, maybe. I don't know. Brockport has been needing coxswains and stuff like that. Coaching's fun too. I'll get in the launch and coach, but I'd love to hone more of my coxing skills, especially if they're taking on Nate. like I said, can't fit in the four.
Yeah, yeah. We are lucky we do get quite a few younger, like the youth rowers will be our well, they get a couple extra bucks to do it. So it
Yeah.
works out pretty nicely. But yeah, be interesting. I don't think we've ever had a master's person as our coxswain. I think it's always been the youth.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, you guys are lucky. That's good that your youth have kind of connected in that way. I feel like um there's at GWC, there's a couple different youth programs that run kind of tandem with
Hmm.
the master's program. So like their practice will end and then the master's practice will start. And so a lot of
Hmm.
times they'll kind of pull people, as it gets closer to the end of the year, as like, potentially because it's time too. Like if you're keeping
Yeah.
it there, they're for
Hmm.
practice from 3 to 5:30, and then they're starting they're going 6 to 8. And if they're still going to school, they're going to school the next day. It's like, as it kind of starts to wax and wane, they have more of the kids able to stay after and
Yeah.
do the coxing and stuff. But yeah, we need to work on getting some more guests. I think we've got
Yeah.
some people in the works. So we'll get
Got some repeat people coming back.
we got people coming back. So yeah, like I think that the 2026 is off to a good start. I hope
Hmm.
everybody enjoyed Tim's uh podcast. And
Hmm.
by the time everybody hears this, that would have been
Yeah.
a couple weeks back. But yeah, if people out there want to come on and tell their rowing story, like that would be amazing. I think Kelly's podcast would have already been released by the time this
Hmm.
podcast comes out. So if you want to come on and just talk about how you got into rowing and what rowing project you're working on right now, we'd love to have you.
Yeah.
And yeah, hope everybody has a great
All
week.
right.
I'm gonna head over to the clinic and
Yeah.
get some treatments done for the day. And I'm sure you have some advising to get done today. Everybody's back at
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Classes. So the ad drop period ends on Friday. So
it. Ooh, okay, that's a big one.
got lots of questions and people trying to get their schedules finalized.
Excellent. Well, have a
All
great
right, Adrian.
week and you take care.
Yeah. Bye. Thanks for listening.
Yes, thanks everybody for listening.